that. Nothing whatsoever. Good morning. Good morning. It is a Monday. It's a Monday. Good morning. Good. I am here finally. I am, and I'm so thrilled to be. Feel so fortunate, so blessed. So I greet you on this day, on this Monday, glorious Monday morning. And we got through a weekend that had a full moon, and just it is juicy good. And I hope that you had a fabulous weekend. Hope that and trust that everything went according to your wildest imaginations and desire. And here's the thing, when you don't have your wildest imagination and wildest desire, maybe it's because you didn't choose it. And it's amazing when you start to make decisions to shift or change your life. My one girlfriend is actively trying to, what do I want to say, just get out more, to be around people more. And not just in a, it's one thing to do it at work and the people that you work with not necessarily be in alignment with what gives your soul, what energizes you, what speaks to you. So you got to find like-minded people. You've got to go in places where you would like to go. And sometimes that means that, you step out there, take a chance. I mean, heck, you could go to a sports bar and watch a game and be in the midst of all kinds of people, new people, and get rid of your judgments about folks, because just like you may go there just to get around people or meet people, somebody else might be there for the same purpose. So don't think like, oh, the only people that go to sports bars are, alcoholics, or the only people that go to these places. That's not true. That's not true. Sometimes it's just people who, just like you, want to be out and around other people. So get out there, do something, and take responsibility for your excitement or your time or your day. I've talked to several people in the last few days who seem like they are a victim of their life. They make it sound like, so bored, or stuff is so wrong, or whatever it can be. And, it just, at times it's like, okay, what part of this do you play? Because it seems like every space and time, everything is always the same person there, which is you. So if you want to do something different, then do something different, right? Don't wait for somebody else to give you permission. Don't even worry about, oh, but I don't know anybody, or I might be, just show up, and you never know what happens. I was watching something, and this person who started out as a loner figured out how to be in proximity to the people that he wanted or desired to have a friendship with. And so you can do that same thing as well, be in proximity. And if you are not, if you're just sitting at home worried about what you don't have, who you don't know, who didn't call, what happened when, then you'll get a lot more to complain about. That's just the way things work. So grab a bull by its horns and get out there and do something. So I will tell y'all that today, I guess they're clean enough. Today, I endeavor to finish out this this week I desire to finish out this particular book that I have been working in. It did not start with you. It didn't start with you. Um, and from there, then once I finish this and do a review of it, I'll feel free to move on to something else. But while this is still here, I need to finish it up. So that is what I endeavor to do. Yesterday, my talk was so good for me. It may not, sometimes when other people hear it, sometimes there is not the application. Sometimes you are hard pressed to find out where it applies. My Saturday talk was good. My Sunday talk was good. And I am like I'm sitting here like with some of the notes that I jotted down in front of me because I thought, oh, this needs to be a chapter in my book, right? And so for me it is like, let me see what spirit has for me on any given day. I'm excited also too because I am entering into a program where I will have some students helping me out. Y'all, it's just blessings, right? Blessings. It just feels like sprinkled blessings in my life. There was a advertisement. Friend of mine's, Tony Jones, had told me at some point a while back ago, girl, get you an intern. He was like, these people, colleges and universities are looking for small businesses where people can intern. And that internship can get you some fresh younger eyes and some help that the university covers the cost or whatever, and you don't have to worry about it. Well, he said, this is what he said, I'll get the names of some colleges that I use and I'll get those to you. Well, even before he could get back to me, I don't think he did, but even before he could get back to me, I saw a advertisement for the same thing, except for the students work in teams. And they give you, I guess, a team of a couple of students to look at what you've been doing and then figure out how to saturate, your social media, how to utilize it better, all of these things. So I'm excited about the opportunity because there's a disconnect. Like, I know about Facebook, I know that TikTok exists, I know that Twitter still exists, I know that there are other things out there that exist, but I don't exactly know how to optimize or how to make it work. And so that's one of the things that I loved about when my niece came over here. She's like, oh, you can put this right here on your phone, or you could do this, you could do that. And so that opening up to different things that can be possible is just beautiful. And so this week I'm going to be getting all my stuff organized because I got some help is on the way. I got that coming, and that is majorly exciting for me. And I had even forgotten that, that was, well, I forgot that I don't want to say I forgot that I signed up, because I didn't forget that I signed up. I signed up and then I hadn't heard anything for months. And so then all of a sudden when it pops up, it's like, whoa, yay, I get to do this. So I don't know about y'all, but I'm like over here doing the Cabbage Patch. That's dating me, right? That's old school. You don't know nothing about that. So that's good. Had some amazing reflections this past week and over the weekend. And now that I'm back here and finishing up this particular book, I want to talk about. I've talked about last week. Hey, good morning. Yes, Tracy, that is so good news. So good news. I will tell you, I looked for the book yesterday. I looked every place that I normally have books, and I did not see it. And so I am going to, and I don't remember the name of it. But here's the thing, I don't throw away no books. No, let me say that. Let me not say it like that. I I go through my books every now and then. And if it is something that I haven't read or something that didn't interest me or something that I did read and it doesn't interest me, then I'll put it in a bag and take it to the bookstore. This book I know I would have not gotten rid of. But the way that the book is made, I could have it in somewhere where I just can't put my hands on it right away. So so I will keep looking for that book for you. But I'm excited about having all of this is virtual. That was one of the things that my friend told me too, that you could have interns and they be virtual, they be across the country or someplace, and you meet online and you tell them what you need. I had done this at one point where I thought I would get me a virtual assistant. And this virtual assistant was in India. And it was so funny because they would turn around stuff so fast. And you're not paying for the time, you're paying like for the product, right? Whatever that may be. And so if you are asking about a website, it's not that it takes them a lot of time, but they have negotiated now for what you get. And so their ability to turn over stuff so quickly is amazing to me. And it could be that, like some people say, it's a different time zone. So while I'm sleeping, they've got all of the stuff I asked to get done, and then oh damn, bam, it's done. And so I'm excited and anticipating what is possible with, two or three or four students looking at my stuff and trying to figure out how I can optimize. And, and it may mean that some shifts are coming, who knows, but I'm excited about it nonetheless. So, so yeah, with that, I'm just feeling honored and yay, 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 like, yay. So I this morning I got some writing in my book, and my thing to myself is that I want to really have a certain amount of time that I set aside for the rest of October to try to bring this to end, and then start shifting gears so I can work on the edit, publish piece, all of that stuff. Because excuse me, I'd really like to get this out by the holiday. So that's my goal. And I'm assuming that my life that I'll start shifting. Yeah. So and that's my prayer for all of us, right? That just like a plant, I don't know about you. I have plants in my house, and I watch things like plants outside, because y'all know I got a garden. I need to do something about my garden. It's time for me to start getting those greens and blanching them and all of that stuff, whatever. But there is something about plant life that seeks the sun. And that is what I desire for all of us, to seek it and to be in that sweet spot where we can really feel the effects of it, and to stay in that. I just, to stay in that awareness, that love that it just kind of keeps giving to us. Yeah, that's my desire. It's my desire for you. It's my desire for myself, that I find that sweet spot and just bask in it. Ooh, that would be so good. Just, like anything else. Just loving, 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 loving where I'm at. So the interesting thing is that in this book it talks about the next steps to transformation when it comes down to really seeing seeing the things that work in your life. So the other day I think I shared that um let me uh, let me shift, because this little one has taken over the other one's seat. Get in there. And doesn't want to get in its own seat. It wants to sit in hers. And it's just like, I don't like to have little dogs fighting. I don't want to hear any stuff. So anyway, so and he was kind of fighting me like, no, I'm not going. I'm not going. I want to sit where she sits. Oof, I'm telling you. And he'll jump up there trying to squeeze his way in. It's cute, but she's irritated by it. Like, hey, I've been living here for all of this time, and now this little come up and wants to take over. You know how that goes. Anyway, so the other day, the conversation that I had with what felt like a room full of spirits that had come before me, who had different experiences that were impressing upon me their anxiety around these relationships. And trust me, because of here's one of the things that I know is that through reading books like the Bible, I recognize that there have been years of judgment, of years of stuff that has been piled on the backs of females, women. And this, just because I am making decisions for myself, doesn't mean that I'm able to bring along all the ancestors that have gone before me that have been impacted differently by this. We never know. I don't know if you, good morning, Twyla. How are you? Look, you're becoming a frequent flyer. I don't know if like your experiences with women, but so say for instance, of course I knew my mother, and I knew one of my grandmothers, and my great grandmother. And whether or not I knew them, knowing them, it is the still the and this goes beyond, because of course if I've got a great grandmother, I've got a great great grandmother, and the more that you go back, the exponentially it gets more and more. So it's like I may start off with a mother, or a mother, and then to the grandmother level I have 2, to the great grandmother level I'll have 4, to the great great grandmothers. I think it doubles as it goes back, or is it to the second power or whatever. But the further you go back, the more of an influence, or the more of them is there. And when I say there's this echo through time that comes into where we are, they have all of these feelings and experiences that they bring to the fold that can impact me where I am today. Remember that this can be some places it'll say up to 4 generations, and some people say even more than that. And so if I am not sitting here with this idea that I've got 4 generations of women whispering in my ear, or 4 generations of women also riding on my back, if I've got even more than that, if I got just 4, that's enough. But if I've got more than that, that are telling me, don't do this, don't do that, because they'll see you and think of you like this. Or could you imagine if, because y'all know I must have some Caucasian in my bloodline, right? Can you imagine if one of my ancestors had been burned at the stake, or had been stoned to death, or had received some other punishment for just being a woman? Then that too has energy that I may also receive. So sometimes the fear and this need to be prim and proper didn't start with you and your generation. It doesn't necessarily loosen up as time goes on, because what they're still operating from is the awareness that they had in their lifetime. Surely they may want you, if you've had any sometimes we have women in our lineage that have always been running stuff, right? You may have had powerful women in your background, but you too could have had some timid ones that are telling you, oh, baby, 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 right? And so I know that I've had some that will be back there saying to me, this is danger, this is danger. Sandra, don't say that, don't do that, don't go here, don't wear that. I get that that is in my lineage. And I'm sitting here and I'm saying, yeah, look, y'all, I love you, I need you. But look, I'm here now. I'm the one. I'm at the, I'm on the it seat. So I need to show up and do what it is that I do. So the moment I start to feel, and y'all don't let me thrash this out a little bit, because what I know is in the moment you may have this feeling, this desire to do exactly what you want to do, but then after you've done it, in comes this depression. Oh, I shouldn't have done that, and oh, you start feeling bad. Do you ever ask yourself, where does that come from? Like, if you make a decision in the moment that works for you, then where does the secondary judgment come from? So, and then here's the thing. We start getting caught up in all kinds of fear that wasn't present in the moment. They seem to dawn on you later. Oh, this is what I sit there, and now that I have had this framework, this it didn't start with you framework exposed to me, now I could say, look, I know that this is not my stuff. I know that this is somebody else's stuff, that part of my ancestral posse. I realize that it's part of their stuff, and I'm saying, I don't have time for that. Look, mm, I don't, I don't have a desire to sit up and second guess what I'm doing in the now moment. So if that has been the case, I don't know if it's the case for and what we do is we modify our behavior. We kind of ratchet it down, right? Because we don't want to feel a particular way. Y'all, we got to have conversations and speak into the atmosphere. Speak into the atmosphere. It works, because whether or not you know that you've got um uh spirit guides working with you, you got ancestors working with you, you whether or not you can see it or not. I know y'all are sitting up there saying, oh, she's talking about ghosts. Well, You got some hungry ghosts. They not necessarily trying to, it's not like they're evil. They sometimes they think that they're operating on your highest and best behalf. But they may be telling you, "Ooh, girl, don't, you know, they might be trying to keep you." And bless their hearts, because I think that it is that they are trying to keep us safe. But what is it? I need to bring those. I got magnets on my refrigerator that says well-behaved women rarely make history, right? Well-behaved women rarely have an impact. Let's misbehave some. Let's misbehave. Let's just be the last generation that is going through some of the stuff that we go through. Let's talk about it. Let's be about the business of making a shift. So from this book, as we talk about this stuff, is saying recognize when these thoughts, when these fears, when this stuff comes up, recognize that it's there. And sometimes it is just acknowledging what it is that you feel. Twyla, you went to school with my sister Linda, yes, and I went to school with your son. Oh, Pam, you did. Pam came out in '77. Yes, yes, yes. I went to school with Linda, and you know what is funny? I would it's so confession. Linda Seeley was always one of those good kids. She was a good girl, and she had this thick long hair when we were in school, and I always took myself to be a bad girl, and I still do. So yes, who can forget Linda Seeley, right? Because she was the smart one, like the standard bearer for the rest of us. And as it comes to intelligence and all of that stuff. And now I don't have my book out, but she bought me your book for my birthday. So I don't have my book out. So she must have bought you another book for your birthday, somebody else's book. Mine's I'm still working on. It didn't start with you, maybe, the book that we're working on now. so so yeah, she was the I always take Linda as she was the standard bearer for my grade thing. So yes, I bless her heart, and I love and adore that that yeah, that's the book that I'm working on. And it's such a good, amazing book, right? It's such a good, amazing book. And I plan on, once I finish the book that I'm working on now, I plan on doing a jump off version for Black folks with this. So yes, I'm claiming it. I'm so excited about this work, and just so honored to be on here and doing this, and the powerful ways that this still shows up in my life. And so, and that's amazing that your sister gave you that book, because you guys share parents, as well as your ancestral lineage. And so if you think about the times when you feel these, the whatever it may be, however it may show up. Sometimes it shows up as fear or anxiety or some type of uncertainty. Sometimes you can't explain what it is, but it had to come from somewhere. And so even when you feel this depression dawning, you can look, I one of these things I'm doing is I'm ducking out of the way, because I'm saying, wait a minute, that's not mine, right? Not doing that. I don't want to do that here. I don't want to do that here. And so, and then to kind of talk through whatever it is that comes up for you. Our parents, they were operating on things that you don't know about, right? So my mother would talk about the things that she saw down south. You know, people people getting lynched, or my dad would talk about that. There was his family. You got a nucleus, you got a mother, a father, and then you got, like if you have 9 siblings, right? So there's that nuclear family. But then there's that family that's down, across the pasture over there, that got kids that look like your daddy. Or you got all of these people, and they didn't have, first off, they didn't have birth control like that, and they didn't have DNA testing. Yesterday I said something on the thing. I said, our first form of birth control was probably, Greek sex, or whatever they wanted to call it. Probably, I mean, you know, people get it in. They get it in, regardless of all of the morality stuff that people talk about. They get it in anyway. Women were viewed as powerless, or blacks really powerless. We didn't have any rights that supposedly a white man was bound to respect. So whoever, it's like, if they decide, they get their sights on you. So our parents, especially if you had Southern parents, or even if they were grandparents, that they experienced stuff that we know nothing about. And because the wonderful thing about this thing called memory is that it recedes to the background. It's supposed to take a backseat to the present. And so it is not necessarily something that we talk about, but it is things that helps us modify our behavior in the present. So say, for instance, if there was a lot of of rape back then there will be certain things that live in your body that that has you trying to be safe, or do what it is that they believe will keep you safe. Because they're not sitting there and acknowledging that, because we say that things change, people change, right? But say, for instance, that is calcified in their memory, and they're really trying to be protective of us today. And so what it'll have is us modifying our behavior, sometimes out of fear. The trauma speaks louder, sometimes out of just out of concern. And so I say that their depression is not my depression. Their fear is not going to be my fear. And I want to make sure that I am trying to differentiate what is valid and mine today based on my lifetime, and what could possibly be from my posse. I'm gonna call it my posse, because to I can talk about it being my ancestors. I can talk about it being the women. Sometimes people are tied into your energy that are not related to you, that somehow are attached to you and your family through a traumatic experience that they had as well. So all of that is there, and it's really good stuff to just start to unpack and investigate and ask questions, and to be honest with yourself. So yeah, I am so that is one of the things that I will be working on as soon as I get finished with the book that I'm trying to I am going to publish soon, I will shift gears and put together a version that is specific towards the issues that our community deals with. And I just think that that is amazing and juicy good. So when the feelings come over you, whether it is feelings of regret, feelings of depression, shoulda, coulda, all of these feelings, when you feel something come in, and sometimes it'll come in like a whoosh. I don't know that it sounds like that, but that's what it feels like. And then it shows up and it's like you sitting there and you're thinking like, what is this? And to say, this is one thing that I've learned in doing this work is to say it out loud. This ain't my stuff. I want to say this ain't my stuff. And I want them all to know that I am loving, I am standing in solidarity. I get it. But this ain't my stuff. And so it's a powerful recognition when you realize that a fear that you have didn't originate with you, right? It because it could be any fear, but if it didn't originate with you, like, okay, then let's investigate. Whose could this be? And even beyond knowing whose it can be, because we can, that helps us get a certain amount of clarity. So if, say, for instance, I can relate to and think about what my grandmother felt, who was, her husband was out, planting seeds in other women's gardens and seeing those come up, and the kids and how they felt about seeing other people who were calling their daddy too, right? it, and this happens in families all the time. I went to I have a cousin who passed, dear cousin. He passed, and we used to go and see his family. We used to party with his family all the time. He was always doing something. He was just that kind of guy, right? Just come on, we having a big fish fry, or we having this, or we having that. We drive over. Detroit is just a short little hop, skip, and a jump, right? 3 hours over there. We over there, and we having fish and spaghetti, because they don't do it like fish and coleslaw like we do. Fish and spaghetti and all of these other things. And we go over there and party, so we were familiar with the entire family, and all of our family coming together, and we just partying and everything. So when he passed and we go to the funeral, imagine our surprise when we're at the gravesite, and everybody is there, and then we started seeing all these people that started saying, bye daddy, bye daddy. And and you're looking like, who, 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 what? Like, wait a minute. This is this family right here. These people right here that we always knew. There was them. What? Who are y'all? Right? That all of a sudden, it's like, wait a minute. And so when we visited, it was the nice, neat little, mother, father, child, mother, father, children kind of thing. Nice and neat, compact. But then when he passed, all of a sudden, it's all of these other people that came out. And y'all forgive me if I'm mischaracterizing this, because I realized that I got family members that watch these too, but it was like, oh my gosh, where y'all come from? And the fact that nobody else, maybe they knew about it, but we didn't know. We didn't know. That doesn't make them any less my blood kin, but good Lord, I could have, that, ugh. I don't know how that works. but I know that it happens. And so, when you have that kind of dynamic that is going on, that could be something. Not only did the traumatic for whoever the wife is at the time, or the girlfriend, or the children, it could be traumatic for all of them. And then what happens as a result of that? Is it an effort to now, going forward, what do we do in order to stay safe? Do I stay a virgin until you know I'm married, or does that make me more open and free? What does that do, right? We've seen people who emulate, even when they don't necessarily mean to, but emulate what they've seen. So there will be some women that will gravitate towards men that are already married, because sometimes that's what they've seen and that's what they know, and they don't have the you know they don't have something that says that I need to have my own. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know. But I know that sometimes we see patterns. Sometimes if a mother has always dated or been in love with a man that was married, then sometimes her her daughter or her children might um walk that kind of line. If you have been somebody who marries, and or you saw that your mother was in an unhappy marriage, and she was there out of a sense of duty and not of love, you might make the same kind of connection that she made, and not have the expectation that you deserve more or that you deserve better. You might not even think that you deserve pleasure when it comes down to sex, because you've never seen what it looks like to have a loving relationship. People who are attracted to one another, and who want to have their hands on each other. If you didn't grow up around that, it might be something that you don't even that isn't even a focus of yours. People used to say that if you want to see what a woman is going to look like later on down the line, look at her mother. And when you look at her mother, it's not just the physicality, the body, and all of that stuff that you're looking for. You're also, sometimes, if we're paying attention, we also look how they are in relationship. Because sometimes people occupy the same house, but they're really alone. They're really living alone. And so when you start to ask questions about where this came from, where did I learn this, right? Where did I learn that say, for instance, if you believe that all men are cheat or are somehow unfaithful, where did that thought come from? And is it applicable to the person that is before you? Or are you attracted to that kind of man? Are you attracted to the person who is unattainable, right? And so if we start to look at and start asking questions about what it is that we're experiencing, what we're seeing, then sometimes we get a little closer to where this might have come from, and then get to have a conversation that moves towards healing it, or at least going in the direction that you desire for it to go to. Can you imagine what it would be like if, say, for instance, you spent most of your life in as not being anybody's primary, right? I think I don't know what day it was, but I did a thing the other day about somebody coming for you who's coming for you, right? When you get lost, or when the chips are down, or when something happens, who's coming for you? And some people have never been in a relationship where they are primary, where they are a primary person, and that somebody is going to come looking for them, right? This is that they're tertiary or on the side, or this piece over there. And if you have nobody that's, do you feel as if you're worthy to have that, right? So there's a guy who I talk to every once in a while, who is in, I talk to a few guys who make it seem like they are a victim of the world. Like what, you ask the question, so what did you do this weekend? Like, and they say, well, I laid around and watched TV because that's my life. And it's like, dude, get up and go. You got some money. It's not like you broke. It's not like you're helpless. It's not like you got a car. You got the ability to move. Get up and go. What is that? When you make it sound like, oh, this is my lot in life. It's not. It is not. And so, ask yourself, well, am I laying around because what I saw was my father lay around? Am I feeling defeated because that's what I always saw, what I always knew? Where did it come from? And then how do I get out from under that? This is the work that we're doing, to ask questions of ourselves, of the atmosphere. Where did this come from? Where did the fear come from? Where did all of this stuff come from? And then be able to sit in that and then make new decisions and have new conversations. And sometimes these conversations come up spontaneously. Look, I'm trying to do something here. I don't have time for this depression. I don't have time for guilt. I didn't feel guilty. This is what I wanted to do. And so, y'all need to get with the program. Let's give you some new information. Let's give some new information to our ancestors that we've been bamboozled. That they were bamboozled, that, that this is a new day, that I don't need him to take care of me. I don't need a man to take care of me. I can do that on my own. And when you get there, when you get to that point and you start having those conversations, there might be this feeling of, that does not compute, Sandra. That does not compute. That is not our experience. It makes life easier, and people will think this about you, and people, yeah. Like, come on, y'all. We gonna move together, but y'all gotta trust me. You gotta trust me. You gotta trust me that I'm working in the highest and best interest of not just you and my ancestral line, but everybody all the way across. Everybody all the way across. When you think about, when I think about that image of Jesus on the cross and his arms being stretched out, it's like, all of y'all are with me. All of y'all are with me. And so it's not just about what's I can't see, but it's all about what is before me and even the generations to come. So recognize familiar thoughts, feelings, and then if it is not yours, whose could this be? Where could it possibly come from? If you are a person who seeks to understand, Try to understand, or, ask questions, or, even this amazing thing, this amazing ability that we have to imagine. Imagine, imagine. If I had to, if I had to think of what this feeling is, what it feels like, if I had to imagine where it came from, what can I imagine? Acknowledge that the fears are there and that something has activated them, right? I had something that activated that feeling of fear, that feeling of failure, that feeling of depression. I had something that activated it. And then it says, take actions to unhinge from the spiraling feelings. So I felt the depression, I felt the fear, I felt all of this stuff like, oh man, I shouldn't have done that. And then I thought to myself, yes, I should have. Like, who y'all telling? Like, get back, get behind me. And I wasn't trying to call him Satan, because I know that they do it out of love. But I needed to say, I made this decision head on, head on. I thought about what I wanted, and I did it. And I did it for me. I did it for all of us, all of us. So, it says, let me just, because it's time for me to go. It says the action you take is important. You might start by telling yourself, these are not my feelings. That's what I just said. I have merely inherited them from my family. Sometimes acknowledging that is enough. I could have just said, oh, this ain't my stuff, right? And that as that darkness was descending, I could have been like, oh, that's not my stuff, and just moved out of the way. But no, 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 no. What I wanted to say is we got to shift this. We got to shift this, because I need y'all to understand moving forward that we are operating under new information, that we've been bamboozled, that look, that Eve didn't cause the fall of man. There wasn't no darn apple in there. Adam was standing right next to me when we had that doggone conversation with the snake. They threw Eve under the bus. And then the bus been rolling back and forth over her from time infinitum. There was another woman in the story that they don't tell us about. Her name was Lilith. And Lilith was not good enough to be listed in the Bible as Adam's first wife, because she refused to be in the missionary position. That's what it says. Okay, that's what I read. She said, why do you get to be on top? And because she wouldn't submit to man, because she was made out of the same dust of the earth that he was, and she would not submit to man. Man then started demonizing her and saying, no, we gonna list her as a demon, and we're not gonna give her any play in our books. Well, little spirit lives in me, damn it. Oh goodness. And so, I want to say to my sisters, whoever, wherever, whenever they have existed, we have been bamboozled into believing something different. We have been bamboozled into believing that we have been less than and not equal to. And so it is what we need to do. So, Linda, it is interesting because I want to tell you, they don't talk about Lilith in the Bible, right? They don't talk about it. There is one mention of her, and I forget where exactly they said that she is mentioned, but she's not mentioned in a favorable light. And so if you look up Lilith and just do a search for her on the internet, there are other I don't want to call them historical. There are other places where she is mentioned, and you gotta just kind of you know be one of those people that finds the stuff, unearths the stuff. In I read about this I've read about it several times. The first time when I was trying to understand the meanings behind Christmas, I do believe that I was first exposed to this teaching about Lilith. And this thing, the book, You Don't Know Much About the Bible by Kenneth Davis. He goes through and he thrashes out or fleshes out some of the stories behind the stories, so that we could see that there was never an apple in the thing, and that Adam was really standing right next to her, and just really kind of like pointing out all the inconsistencies that we've been taught over and over again. We get a chance to hear it from a different way. And so this goody two shoe stuff, those folks, we know that we've been told, oh, these people in the Bible wasn't so pure and holy, and still God worked through them and used them. So why do we then have to be, right? Why do we get this, oppressive kind of push down? Yeah, it's some of the stuff, as I take it's kind of like taking a microscope and looking at it and asking the questions. Well, wait a minute, where did these people come from, and how was this, and why would somebody say, oh, you know what, don't hear, you can't have these men, but you can take my daughters, they're both virgins, you can. Well, I mean, what would prompt a father to say that? Well, because they didn't value women, right? And so is it for us to agree with them, or is it for us to now value ourselves and tell our own stories? I told this friend of mine, I said, one of my goals, as I'm writing books, one of my goals is going to be to write a book that'll be banned, right? That they'll say, oh, you can't read this because this girl is off the hook. ah, let's Hey Mike, how are you? Let's rip let's rip this whole narrative apart. Let's rip it all apart, because what we now, I mean, just from looking at it and really delving into it, come on. I wanna and at a certain point, uh, at a certain point, we've gotta just tear this. It's almost like in The Wizard of Oz at the end, when Toto goes over there and he pulls back the curtain and he sees that it's been a little man, little Mr. Jingling all the time, sitting there pulling the levers and doing all of this stuff. We need to pull that curtain back and say, Mr. Jingling, come on out. Yo, time is up. That's the go. All right, y'all, I'm out of here. I hope you have an amazing Monday. I thank you for being here. Everett, good morning. Are we going to work together to right this wrong? Hey, absolutely, babe. I mean, come on. Because that's what this is all about, right? It's all about, like, let's expose the stuff that we've been taught. Yes. And whoever wants to come on in that endeavor, whew, we all got a part. We all have a part. So I thank you for that. I'm glad look, are you up for the task? Oh my gosh, absolutely. All right, y'all, I'm gone. All right, have an amazing Monday. Bye. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll be here tomorrow.